Right, Rob, welcome to the first interview with SQUATWOLF.
Thank you. Delighted to be here.
I'm happy to have you. So I just want you to tell us a little bit about yourself and what does the listener need to know about Rob's life?
Oh, man. So I've worked in the sportswear industry for a little over 20 years now, which makes me feel really sad when I say that and old. But I'm excited to be at SQUATWOLF now because I can bring all of that experience to quite a young organisation. Started out, I guess, right the way back, my journey into what I do now as Chief Innovation Officer at the brand. I guess the journey started from getting a bad sports injury as a kid. I was about 13 and suffered a avulsion fracture of my right ischial tuberosity. So any experts listening will know what that is.
I'm like, what is that?
Yeah. So that's basically where you've got your hips and your seat bones and your hamstring attaches to your seat bones. And I was playing a lot of football and I was a fairly good sprinter as well. And so my muscles were stronger than my skeleton. And so when I overstretched, the hamstring stretched and broke the bone in what in an adult would have been like a pulled hamstring injury.
Yeah.
Became something where it went undiagnosed for a year. I was having like deep tissue massage and physiotherapy and stuff on it, and then was a broken bone, so you can imagine how pleasant that was. And then I was almost 15, I think, when I was finally told you'll never do sport again. And so for me, that then, I guess, kind of spurred me into wanting to work on things that would help athletes, in whatever form. As much as football was my thing as a kid, I was really keen on either going into physiotherapy or something like that. And then I figured out just how clever you have to be for physiotherapy. So I went into fashion design instead, but always with a keen interest.
How did that go down with the family when you're so sports orientated now to fashion design?
It was an unusual one. We had got a little bit of it in the family. So my uncle ran a ladies' wear shop for quite a few years and was successful with that. So there was a little bit of that in the family, but like my dad was a milkman, my mum was an accounts clerk. So there wasn't really, in my immediate family, I was the first person to go to university. So it was a little bit of an unusual kind of route into fashion.
How did that transition happen? Like, I know when you were 15, right, you had the injury. Yeah. Was there a day where you thought, like, where do I turn next? Or did you just kind of have like a pinnacle moment where you just wanted to transition out?
That's a good question. I don't think there was a specific moment, because it kind of, having the injury for a long period of time before really knowing what was happening with it was difficult. And then I was at a grammar school, so it was all about being educated in very classic academic topics. So like I've got A-levels in British government and politics and whatever, as well as design. But the journey actually fully into clothing design, because I was doing more industrial design for my school A-levels, came about. We had a guy came in from the children's charity Bernardo's.
Oh yeah, I know Bernardo's.
Yeah, and so he came in and wanted us to sell pin badges door to door to raise money. He was like, if you sell all of them, you'll raise £10. And the video really hit me. So I wanted to raise more and decided to put on a catwalk show at school, which was as 17-year-olds organising a catwalk show. It was like, if you've watched The In-Betweeners, it was like the catwalk show from The In-Betweeners.
I love it.
But yeah, and we raised a load of money for charity, and as part of it, I got to meet some local designers in Birmingham and started feeling like that could be where my design interest went. And then it was only then my parents reminded me of like, oh, when you were a little boy, you used to design football kits all the time, and I'd completely forgotten football kits and sneakers. I was always drawing them when I was a kid, but it was just, I'd never made that definite link between, well, I love doing this and this is what I can do for a job. It was just, that was the equivalent of playing with Action Man or kicking a ball around in the garden.
That's brilliant. Sometimes when you're in the midst of things, you haven't got that bird's eye view to be able to identify the links.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sometimes having the outsider opinion can be really good for
Yeah.
you to kind of look inside
Yeah.
for the next step.
Totally. So I made the choice then to go into fashion design, and I chose a course that was fashion design with technology. So
Okay.
it had certain elements around advanced garment construction, and I really wanted to get into more the performance side of clothing, which at the time, it wasn't really deemed as a fashionable thing to get into. I remember a lecturer I had at the time dressing me down in front of like the whole class, saying, "Sportswear's not fashion. You'll never make a career out of this."
They estimate as I think it's like a $450 billion industry by 2018, I think,
Yeah.
or 2018, 2028.
Yeah, no, you're
That's
right.
it, yeah,
It's huge.
It's absolutely crazy.
It's huge.
Like, I looked at the figures, I thought, I'll better do my homework on this before I have you on.
Yeah, and the projections increase all the time as well. So it tends to be under-projected on the scale of the opportunity.
So, as a creative, do you think, were you money motivated at all during this high rise in your career, or were you just more specifically on the design, the functionality of everything, or what was your motivation?
No, I wouldn't say money was really a factor. I mean, I've worked for some big brands, and you make good products for them, and it generates millions, billions of dollars. But it was always, for me, it was about making lives better or easier. So if you can solve a problem for an athlete, and the vast majority of my professional career has been based in athletes, either professional or just people who love to do sport and keep fit. So yeah, the focus was always on that. I think the difference between university and being in industry is you have to be aware of what things cost, because the companies have got to be able to pay your wages, and the athletes have got to be able to afford what you're designing and making. So
it seems like you're quite purpose driven in terms of why you're doing something, but the credibility of your career and the shifts that you've had, the success stories that you've mentioned previously before, and I'm sure we can all check them out on LinkedIn and see.
Yeah.
So where does your purpose come back in? How do you not get derailed from all the fluff and the high hanging fruits that are out there? How do you manage to stay focused on why you're doing something?
I think a big part of my character is, and it really annoys people as well, is I like things to be correct and as good as they can be. And I apologise to everybody, including at SQUATWOLF, who has to endure this. But yeah, I will correct people and correct things, but not in a way that I'm trying to be that guy. I see it as like helping people, and so when it comes to how products work or what they do, I like to find a right answer. And I think that's perhaps part of why I ended up doing sports products rather than just fashion, because there's ambiguity and subjectiveness around fashion, whereas performance product is objective. So if I think back to earlier in my career, designed a football kit that won the World Cup in 2006, and the brief for that was get players to the ball faster. And that was it. It was as broad as that. So we looked at aerodynamics, fabric weight, how quickly it dried, how much did it weigh at the end of a match compared to the start, the psychology of the athletes, because the best way to make it aerodynamic would be to make it skin tight, but then some of these guys are like 6'7" and 90 kilos, so they just look terrible in skin tight product. So we had to factor in all these different things. We tested the product in a low velocity wind tunnel, and there were very specific answers of this product will get you to the ball faster than anything else you can get from anybody else. And I've tended to like to have that approach to things.
That's amazing. I can see with how you've adopted your career, you're very transparent with what you do, and like you said, it's not that you're looking for the right answer, and that's absolutely brilliant, because you wouldn't have gotten where you are today if you hadn't been dead on with facing these kind of conflicting situations where some people probably feel like, oh, like, people don't like the honest answer sometimes, but that's the honest answer is what's going to create the solution and to be able to up level what you're doing.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I remember when we found out that it was an incredibly fast product under the metrics that we were comparing it, and it was just amazing. I was actually with my then boss. We were on a factory visit developing the product in Thailand, and it was being tested in this wind tunnel in Germany, and we got the phone call with the results, and we were out on the street. We'd actually been for dinner, and we're enjoying a little snack of, like, I don't know, grasshoppers or something.
Oh, lovely.
Bought off a guy on the side of the road. Yeah, and we found out, and it's just amazing to get that. And as much as that's a very specific instance, I think now, and particularly working with SQUATWOLF, enjoying the direct feedback that we get from athletes of this is good, or this could be better, or because there's always ways to improve it. I think if SQUATWOLF was a brand that was just about following trends and moving cut lines around on garments and whatever, I won't really be interested. I'm interested in the purpose that we talk about of creating components to help people get stronger.
This is what I love about the brand as well, is the fact that when we have team meetings, like, the ambassadors, everyone comes around and they discuss the products and they discuss it in detail and be transparent with how they're fitting and everything else as well, which I don't think some brands, they don't take this into consideration, and it's where people end up producing products that aren't
stuff. And there's plenty of stuff.
Yeah. So what makes a brand shine through and be unique like SQUATWOLF?
So there's a famous marketing guy that worked at, I think, Coca-Cola. Can't be that famous if I can't remember. But the quote that stands with me is, a brand is a promise, a good brand is a promise kept. And so our promise around elevating the human experience and creating products that help people to become stronger in every sense of the word, the brand values around leading the pack, and whether that's through the product, through how we interact with our athletes, the team in the offices around the world, that's really important. And I think we're still an emerging brand rather than being one of the big guys that everybody's familiar with. So we're still kind of educating people on what our promise is, and sometimes figuring out for ourselves what some of the more nuanced promises are. But I think once you've established a good brand, it's people know what they can count on you for, and then they will come to you and consistently get. You're only as good as the worst thing that you do. So that's what we have to keep pushing forward.
So how did you come about SQUATWOLF?
Yeah, so it was an interesting one. I got introduced to Waj, the co-founder, by a mutual friend, and had some initial conversations with him, and the business was still quite small, so that was probably about 18 months before I actually kind of got fully involved with the brand. So we had a few conversations. I really liked what he was about, and eventually got to meet Anam and some of the other team members as well, and just loved how everybody was so upfront and honest about what we're in it for and what we're trying to achieve. And so it would have been, just after lockdown, like December 2020, I think, was when we fully got on board. So myself and Craig, the Chief Creative Officer, we got fully on board with working deeply with the brand. And so a lot of the things and ways that we've worked started to become implemented from them, and credit to the founders, the team
for listening.
And we've come in and talked about, well, what if our Essentials collection was the ultimate starter kit for people that are new on their gym journey? What if Core was, then you're kind of feeling a bit more confident and you want something that functions a little bit more, that's a little bit more kind of style driven. Lab 360, some of the product we've got in front of us being things that, for me, it's ideal if a trainer would choose this. So it's like, I'm going to wear this all day, I'm going to work out in it, feel proud in front of my clients in it. That that would be as big a win as the wind tunnel moment.
Yeah, so
For this product.
You just said how you'd work out in these products all day. So what makes it being able to work out all day? What's the quality of the products? Tell us.
Great question. So no, for this season we've introduced a new technology from a third-party technology provider called T-Dry, and obviously with a huge focus of the work and the research we do being here in the Middle East, climate control and drying quickly is a really big factor. And so we found this fabric that dries 3 times quicker than the industry standard.
Amazing.
So you think of like the big brands that everybody's familiar with and we all see at the gym all the time.
Yeah. So Rob, tell us a little bit about this product that we have here. I know that there's something pretty cool.
Yeah, so this is the T-Dry material that I talked about, where it's knitted in a way that it kind of represents how a tree root would move liquid away. So it has a definite direction of travel for the liquid. Let's hope I don't spill all this water everywhere and try and get like a equivalent amount of sweat on the product. But you can see it kind of drips on and then it very clearly moves through to the other side. So for the benefit of the camera, it'll be difficult to see the difference, but on the light colour you can see the darkness, but you can only really feel how wet it is on the opposite side. And so the intent there, and I would encourage anybody who can get their hands on the product to try it and feel it and really feel the difference for themselves. The initial reviews have been incredible. So it moves the liquid to the outside, spreads it out across the surface of the fabric, and then obviously your own body heat and the outside temperature allows that to evaporate quickly. And obviously spreading it out works. So in the same way as I've got the jar of water here, if I was to leave that there, it's going to take a long time to evaporate. But if I pour it all over the table, it might be gone by tomorrow morning. And so it kind of, just takes the same approach really on the product. So you can see already that it's starting to be almost completely dry on the inside. So we've used that on some of the main body fabrics of leggings, tanks. So this one's got the laser perforations on the front that gives ventilation to the front of the body. So your body actually needs sweat to help it cool down. So keeping dry is, people prefer to do that when they're working out. But your body produces sweat so that when the air touches it, it kind of cools down the liquid and then cools down your skin. So a big part of what we want to do is figure out how can we get air into the product as well as moving moisture out so that your body can naturally cool itself, and then we can help you to stay dry. So again, the T-Dry fabric with that in. And then one of the kind of best examples of it is on the elastic of the bra top here. So with it being a slightly thicker material, being an elastic, then there's more, I guess, of what we would call tree roots for it to work. And with women, when they work out, tend to find that it gets really sweaty under the bust because, naturally it's gravity and, there's a lot of body tissue there. And so with this, we wanted to work really hard on creating an elastic that had the solution. You can see with this one just how quickly it starts to push through to the other side. It kind of gets to a point where it just completely disappears. So from a woman's perspective, and we've intentionally done this in black so all the elastic is black across every colourway of the product, whether it's bras, leggings, anywhere, so that it kind of preserves that modesty of it's fine on a t-shirt for the sweat to spread out and dry, but like if it's under your bust or if you're wearing a crop and you've got the leggings on, you probably don't want to.
That's amazing. That's very forward thinking, because I think people who buy this stuff, they wouldn't even consider that. So.
Yeah, and I think it's something where we're solving a problem that people have just come to accept rather than kind of thinking that there can be an answer for it. And if you think of, if I was to ask you now, what's the best zip you've ever had on a jacket? You almost certainly wouldn't be able to tell me. But if I asked you if you've ever had a jacket where the zip didn't work properly, you'd probably remember it quite distinctly. And this feels like one of those things where it should just come as standard of like, well, why should you have sweat pooling under your bust or around your waist or wherever else? So You know, people have just come to get used to it. That's what a sports bra feels like. And so, yeah, I mean, it's an important thing for us is even the greatest moisture wicking technologies and quick drying technologies in the world, if you're working as hard as you can in a gym, in a CrossFit box, wherever, you're not going to keep dry because your body wants to be wet because that helps you cool down quicker because the air of the motion touches the moisture and that helps cool your skin down. You know, basic physics really. And so part of what we look at is how can you make wet comfortable. And so we've made a real big step towards figuring out materials that have got some texture to them so they don't stick to your skin. And you know, like you think of, we've all worn kind of flat performance t-shirts that you get wet and they just wrap themselves onto your skin. So we're trying to move away from that part of the industry and really looking at textures and functional benefits and being really honest about them. You know, what are the benefits of what we do? There are plenty of brands out there that introduce new technologies all the time and make these amazing claims that, you know, they may even be true in a lab, but if the athlete can't feel it, then it doesn't really exist. It's kind of pointless.
So would you say to the listener, when they're actively going to buy gym clothing like SQUATWOLF, like what should they look for in terms of the uniqueness of what you've just mentioned there? I think a lot of us seem to just look at the forefront of something looking just visually nice.
Yeah.
What should someone actually look for in their gym clothing?
Well, I would say that decision-making process starts kind of the last time you're in the gym before you go to the shops. And think about what do you dislike about the product that you've currently got, because stylistically, you know, you may choose on style or price. I'd like to think if you are basing it purely on style, you'd still choose us anyway because the product looks great. But from a functional standpoint, think about the things that are irritations or distractions. So we like to talk about no distractions, because the best workout you can have is where it's just you against you, and that's it. And the best feedback I ever get from an athlete is no feedback at all. If I send a kit to you and there's stuff wrong with it, you're going to tell me pretty quick. If I send kit to you and there's nothing wrong with it and it works perfectly, you'll just go off and wear it and I won't hear from you until next season when you want some more.
You sound like my mom. My mom often says, I never hear from you when life is going good.
And that's exactly the same as working with athletes. But so, you know, you might think about, well, the t-shirt I wear at the moment does stick to me, or some of the leggings that we've done for men and women previously that protect shins against deadlifts. So, you know, obviously your trainers will always tell you keep it as close to your shins as possible, and the net result of that is, particularly for women, you know, hey, my shins look battered when I go out in a skirt, you know, and so we introduced abrasion resistance into the shins of some of the product to help protect against that, and that's a technology that we're developing and evolving further. Really getting into the nuts and bolts of things as well. So, you know, camel toe is a bit of a phrase of like, even for us in the office, we were like, can we say, and we were like, you know, can we even say it? And it's like, well, it's a real thing. Let's say it and let's
identify the camel in the room.
Exactly. And try and work on technologies and ideas that can help resolve that, because psychologically, if that's something that, you know, is there for you, it'll impact your performance. You know,
I know, you want to feel comfortable in the gym. And
totally. And it makes a huge difference. If there's anything that's getting in the way, then you're not gonna be at your best, and that can be anything from being too hot to conscious of how you look, or any of those things that are all perhaps more subtle factors that you can't measure in a lab. But I think just the years of experience of working with people like Michael Schumacher, Usain Bolt, Wayne Rooney, whoever, you know, all these sorts of kind of sporting legends, you know, as I've been fortunate to do, and Craig has as well. You know, you pick these things up because they will tell you, because they're paid a lot of money to perform in front of millions of people.
Where do you see SQUATWOLF going in the future? Where would you like to see SQUATWOLF? Your own opinion now.
Oh, man. Well, I don't think my own opinion would be any different than kind of anybody else in the leadership team, where I think for us, we really believe in what we're doing and the purpose of doing it to, you know, help people get fit, feel good about themselves, you know, and I think the more people we can touch with that, the better it is for everybody. So I would love to be able to walk into any gym in the world and see SQUATWOLF product everywhere, or tell people what I do, you know, with SQUATWOLF Chief Innovation Officer, and have them straight away be like, oh, wow, I wear SQUATWOLF and do this in it, and I bought this, and you know, we get that feedback locally now, but I would love to see a further reach of that, because I believe we've got a lot to offer the global athletic community.
As a new customer coming on to SQUATWOLF, what is the focal point and the best product that you have?
Oh man, I think that would depend on, we'll need to edit out the omans, so I'm going to go, because I've done 3 of them now in the conversation. I think for a new customer, it would depend on where they're at in their athletic journey and what they're used to wearing. So, as I said before, I think with Essentials product, it's designed to fit a little bit more generously and really think about removing some of those obstacles that might stop somebody from going to the gym in the first place. If you're already in great shape and you really want to get into the technologies and the incremental gains that you get from wearing technologically advanced product, you'd look at Lab 360. If you're commuting or travelling around and you want functional performance, so you can take on an ad hoc workout or whatever, you might choose the Code. And then if you're somebody who's, you know, really on a bodybuilding journey and look back fondly at the golden era of bodybuilding back in the, you know, the 70s and 80s, then golden era, the collection kind of says it all, really. So yeah, we've got plenty in there for people depending on where they're at in their kind of athletic journey themselves.
Do you think it's quite difficult to kind of stay true to your purpose within the brand when you're trying to support everyone, you know? Because obviously you have a collection for everyone. How do you manage to look after everyone, more or less?
Yeah, well, I think it is important that we stay focused, because it's very easy to be, you know, oh, well, you know, loads of people play tennis and that's good for you. And, you know, we've got to stay focused on what our true purpose is, which is the gym and gym wear and, you know, bodybuilding as an aspect of that. And so I think as we develop the product collections, we'll consider other activities in terms of, are these cross-functional, but ultimately the athletes themselves will decide that if this particular style they've bought for the gym kind of relates to another sport and they feel they can wear it comfortably, then they will. I think the one thing that all sports have in common, at least if you're playing to a serious level, is some part of your training is in the gym. So whether you're a footballer, an ice hockey player, whatever it might be, some part of your training is in the gym, and that's where we can touch people's lives and help make that difference. If we can help improve their performance in the gym, then that will have an impact on their performance in whatever else they're doing.
In the future, or even now, do you think SQUATWOLF will be more on the sustainable side of things and Yeah, well, I mean, we already have the most sustainable packaging in the industry. So I love this.
So yeah, so we've made a move to one of the first things that we looked at as part of, you know, taking sustainability really seriously. Was looking at the packaging, and it's biodegradable, 100% compostable, biodegradable, even the glue that it's sealed with. And we even switched the glue as well at one point, so we'd launched with one that was biodegradable, but it was a little bit too gluey. And so if you ordered something and opened it, it would rip the bag, which is fine if you're keeping the product, but if you want to send it back, then it's got to go in a new bag to go out to somebody else.
So it's kind of defeating the purpose.
Yeah, so we changed the gluiness of the glue and made it so that you can open it and reseal it, and it's reducing the amount of packaging. But that's just, you know, one of the few first steps that we're taking as a brand towards, you know, we talk about lead the pack, and we put it on some of our products, and we take that really seriously. And so, you know, we are far from perfect, and we're not going to sit here and say, oh, well, we've done packaging, and so that's great. I think with a topic like sustainability, it can be people can be scared by it and feel like, well, if I'm not doing everything, then there's no point doing anything. And
it should be gradual.
Yeah,
you know,
just like your gym life, it is a journey. And you know, we're relatively early on in our journey compared to the ambitions that we've got. We're currently internally working on formalising those ambitions and plans and clear dates against them, and you know, we'll hold ourselves accountable to make sure that we achieve the things that we say we're going to achieve, because you know, there's no point creating workout gear if there's no planet for people to work out on.
Yeah. How has SQUATWOLF evolved over the years since 2020, I suppose, to now? Has there been much change since you started, or?
Yeah, I think it's just been the natural progression of the brand. I'd like to think that as we've attracted more people from diverse backgrounds and different experiences within the industry, then that's accelerated the path that we were already on. So yeah, we've really worked hard on looking at what are industry benchmarks for different, whether it's temperatures you can wash at, the life cycle of a product, the materials that we use. Can we switch from virgin polyester to recycled polyester in different areas? You know, it's been a natural progression, but yeah, we've sped it up a fair bit. So I'd like to think if somebody had bought the product 6 years ago and was now buying the product today, they would visibly see and feel a difference, but they would still feel like it was SQUATWOLF product at heart.
So what's the longevity of the clothing themselves? Like, I know obviously each individual product might be a little bit different, and it depends on the customer profile. Are they a sweaty Betty? Are they someone who's out in the sunshine in their gym gear all the time? But roughly speaking, what's the lifetime?
If I'm being honest, and it'll sound like I'm dodging the question, but as you've just said, it's impossible to say. I mean, sometimes it's people don't look after the clothes properly.
Yeah.
You know, if you sweat in a product and then leave it ages and ages before you wash it, then some of that sweat is going to find its way into the material and stay there. And over a period of time, that will build up, and that's why you can get, you know, from all sorts of brands, you can buy product that when it's come out of the washing machine, you put it on and get warm in it, and it starts to be a bit whiffy straight away. The wash care of a product is really important. Most sportswear just needs to be washed at 30 degrees, and that's what we say on our product, and that helps. I mean, it's great for the environment, it's great for your own electricity bill, and I think it's really helps to preserve the integrity of the product. The fabrics aren't being exposed to such heat. Same with anything, if it's got bonded, so glued together seams, or the logos that we use heat to apply, all of that's going to last longer.
Where are the actual materials sourced from, more or less? Like,
so
is it different?
Yeah, so a lot of what we do is from out in the Far East. So again, we've worked really hard to make sure that our partners in factories and fabric mills are compliant to the standards that we would hope for and expect to see. So yeah, a lot of it comes from out that part of the world, and I think it used to be that kind of made in China was a bit of a sticky topic, whereas if you're with the right factories now, that's actually more of can be a mark of quality. And some of the factories we're with, and with some of the products in front of us, you know, the technology they've got, it's not, you know, and the whole region, whether that's countries that we're manufacturing in or not, kind of the Far East and the offshore countries like Sri Lanka and places like that, they've just developed their workforces so much, particularly around technical product, you know, and they've got factories full of lasers and bonding equipment and testing equipment and stuff that, like 20 years ago when I came into the industry, we would get prototypes back that you'd just be like, what am I supposed to do with this? The guy in the factory that was figuring out how things fit, his only qualification might be that he could operate a pair of scissors. Whereas now you've got people that are go into good universities and getting clothing degrees and going to work in factories, and factories are setting up their own design and development studios in the Middle East, Europe, North America as well. So yeah, it's been really interesting to work with some factories and mills that I was already familiar with from other brands that I've worked for, and some that were new to us. But the one thing that they've all got in common is their commitment to what we're doing and the role that they can play in that.
So if I was to wave a magic wand and say, right, we're fast forward in 10 years' time, what would you in La La Land like to see SQUATWOLF doing in 10 years' time?
Oh,
I'm going to put ideas out there and maybe you might fabricate into something.
Yeah, well, I think natural next steps for us, and given what we've discussed about me as an individual, I want us to be kind of solving problems for athletes that they haven't even raised to us. We're so ahead of what's required and doing it in a way that we own. And I'd like that to be a lot sooner than 10 years, to be honest. In terms of 10 years out, if I think 10 years back, how much technology has changed, how much the world has changed, the ability to talk to and educate athletes and customers has changed. So for me to think 10 years out feels like a long time. We'll probably be doing something that doesn't even happen, doesn't even exist at the moment. I think shorter term, it would be that, is to really get into that rich understanding of the athletes we've got, what they're doing, how we can make those things better, and working hard to do that for them, and that we've got anybody that wears our product would see us as a partner and not a transactional relationship. I think would be really good, and to meet people around the world who've then gone on their own fitness journey and feel stronger and better about themselves wearing our product. That would be amazing.
Sorry, I'm jumping across you here, but if there was one person you would like to see wearing SQUATWOLF, who would it be?
Me. I think. So on my own personal fitness journey at the moment, relating back to that injury. And so my commitment is to become the Lab 360 guy. But I think
I'm going to hold you to that now and keep you accountable.
Totally. So watch this space. But if I think on a bigger level, somebody that people might be more familiar with than the few minutes they've listened to me, I don't know. I wouldn't like to throw a name out there. It would be more of a personality type, but somebody who's, somebody who's always a yes. So you need them. I need your help. Can you come and help me out? Yes. I'm going for a workout. Do you want to come? Yes. Are we going to a party? Do you want to come? Yes. Somebody who's in control of their own destiny. I think from a guy's perspective, and as a man, as a dad, I would say my ideal woman for us to wear the product would be somebody who I'd feel proud if she was my daughter.
Yeah.
And then from a man's perspective, I think it'd be somebody I'd feel proud if my daughter was marrying him. Just good stand-up people that want to contribute and make a difference. So rather than pinpointing a specific celebrity or athlete, we all know enough about celebrities and athletes to figure out for ourselves who has these attributes, but people that care and want to make a difference and aren't just showing up,
leaders,
taking the cash and getting on with it. Leaders.
I like the modest answer on that one. It's like, I'm not going to name drop.
Yeah, I mean, sure, off air there'll be plenty of actual celebrities that I'd love to see in the product, but in reality, I think a lot of kind of famous people, or people that we're familiar with, they are in good shape. They have to take care of themselves, either because of how they need to look and come across, or just as part of the lifestyles they've got. So rather than think about image, I'd be more interested in the characteristics they have. You could pick a million people that would look amazing in the product, but somebody that you'd think, I'd like to go for dinner with you, I could really enjoy a conversation with you and come away from it learning something, or go for a workout with them. And I think that would be the person I would want to see in the product.
So before we go, I want to ask, what's your mission statement for SQUATWOLF for the future? If there was one little mission statement you have to
God.
give now, because I'm going to hold you to it, and I'm going to hold you to a 12-week transformation as well for Lab 360.
Yeah, it's going to be more than a 12-week.
Well, you can do a lot in 12 weeks.
Yeah, so I mean, our mission statement is elevating the human experience through creating components that make people stronger. So,
And what's Rob's take on that today as a mission statement? Give me one liner and then we're ready to rock and roll.
yeah, totally. Making people's lives better or easier by making it easier for them to work out, feel good about themselves in mind and body.
Love it. I know I put you on the spot, but it's
Yeah,
been
you
an
did.
absolute pleasure speaking to you today. I just want to say thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.